Yo, 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 guys, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Game Six Clay podcast. It's your boy Gautam, my boys Matt and Chuck. Gentlemen, we're coming off literally the end of the buzzer. Was not 5 minutes ago. The Warriors is wrapping up a 3-0 road trip, moving to 3-1 on the season, dismantling the New Orleans Pelicans 130 to 102. Guys, we got a lot to get into today. I know we're excited. There's God, this team looks good, man. Steph Curry leading the show, but before we get into everything, as always, how we living, gentlemen? How we living?
Oh man, this team is confusing when we get to halftime of the game tonight, and I'm wondering where it's going to go wrong, and Matt is confident how right it's going to go.
I know it's
Like,
awesome. Beautiful.
man, it's something else watching this team right now. We got the little equinox going tonight. I've been toggling between dubs, a little Monday night football, a little World Series going on. Like,
Right there.
we're living, boys. How you doing there, Matt?
To quote the immortal Michael Scott, I am ready to be heard again.
Get ready to get hurt again, Matt. Well, it's not tonight, and it wasn't this road trip. Warriors coming off with the last time we spoke, Matt was coming off the opening day loss to the Suns. But we were both pretty optimistic. I think we kind of just chalked it up to game one, some of the rotations that we were seeing out there. Corey Joseph getting some solid minutes against Phoenix. But fast forward, not even a
I,
week.
I gotta pause you, man. I don't know if optimistic's the word. I'm not gonna lie. We were both ready to have Steve Kerr's head for a few
That's
minutes,
true.
man.
That's
At
true.
least.
I like to look at things in the bright side. But yeah, I was mad too at Steve Kerr. But pressing all the right buttons. Warriors. I don't know when they won 3 road games last season. How long it took? It must have been like December, maybe January. But they're 3-0 on the road now. Picking up wins against Sacramento, Houston, and now New Orleans tonight. Talk me through the Dubs, man. We're back, and I think Warriors basketball is back, and I know that they're back. But this team, man, the bench unit. We talked about how the rotations were kind of looking with guys like Kuminga, Moody, GP. Hadn't got a look at Trey Jackson Davis or Pods until tonight, but we saw kind of what the combinations were looking like, but these last 3 games on the road, man, starting off in that Kings game, the bench unit consistently showing now 3 games in that they're going to be, and in the game against the Suns as well. Like that bench unit is going to be a very very formidable 5-man, 6-man, 7-man group even that you could throw out there once everybody's healthy. But talk to me, boys. Chuck, let's start with you, man. Since we missed you on the last one, give us your thoughts, man. 3-0 road trip, and really just the stark difference from this year's team to the one that we saw, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, man, but it's reminding us of some of those parades that we've seen. This team is built like that. So, Chuckster, get us started, man.
I mean, the first thoughts, yeah, we'll get into what 30's been up to later. But it's just, we've talked about this before, like going from a team last year that felt like they were walking a razor thin wire of depth, like they could just barely hold it together. And now they're just looking so deep. Like we saw so many guys contributing. We're getting Trace Jackson Davis minutes, we're getting Pods minutes. Like, and that's the thing too, is we talked about Steve Kerr, and yeah, like he is frustrating in the way he makes his rotations. But he saw all of 4 minutes of Corey Joseph playing in that one game and said, "All right, we're good." Like Pods was the guard off the bench tonight instead of Kojo, and we saw the benefit of that. He played exceedingly well. Like I think I really like his effort on the defensive end. We know he can rebound. He made a lot of really good drives that I think were fun to see, especially tonight against the Pelicans. But like these other games, man, like we're seeing the confidence in how they step up. And Chris Paul is really the guy just like pulling all the strings together on this. Like uh, Kings and Rockets, you're seeing good Kuminga games. We're seeing huge Moses Moody minutes. But the main feeling that is coming now is when steps off the floor, they're not completely screwed. Chris Paul plays with a really good pace. Like he's not grinding everything to a halt. He can just go hunt those mid-range shots whenever they're really just hard up for a basket. Like there's just so much to like about this team right now. And, a lot of that is 30, a lot of that is Clay, a lot of that is Draymond, all the old things. But we're seeing the pieces around it just really come together so well. And that's what's been so impressive to me is just, I mean, this team looks 10, 11 deep right now. And I don't think we would have been saying that in the offseason. It was more, oh, in theory, they look pretty deep, but now we're seeing it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just the story of the season so far. It's the depth, and it's not like we think they're going 11 guys deep. Like they played 10 guys tonight, like an actual 10 guys, and they were down to of two of their top 7 in the rotation so far, and they didn't miss a fucking beat. Clay, their starting shooting guard, who despite the shooting struggles besides last game, has been a really positive player so far. JK, who you mentioned, these guys just stepped in. Trace Jackson Davis just stepped in. Pods just stepped in. It was really cool to see Chris Paul with Trace Jackson Davis tonight. And you can tell, the guy's not entirely ready for some of the passes that guys like Steph and Chris Paul are going to be throwing him all the time. But he caught enough of those. He just dives really hard, man. He's got pretty good hands after he gets used to things. And it just feels good. And I love that you brought up just the feeling of the bench coming in and feeling like, I'm not going to lie, I understand that the starting group is the best or was the best group in the league last year. Just right now, with Draymond getting back into the swing of things, Wiggins, who knows what's going on with Wiggins, but like Wiggins doing his Wiggins stuff. Who had a better game tonight, to be clear. He's a little more aggressive tonight. Grabbed a few boards, he grabbed 3 boards tonight, which I think is as many or one more than he's had all season so far. But I almost feel this is 4 games in, and I am the most reactive person on the pod probably. I almost feel better with that group coming in right now. I'm like, okay, you know what? At the very least, they're going to play good defense and take care of the basketball. And Chris Paul is going to, quote Steve Kerr, he's going to slow things down, take care of the ball, and do all that good stuff, right? Table setter. I just can't believe what I'm seeing or feeling, any of it. I am hopeful in a way that I don't want to feel. I don't know what's coming, but I know I'm not going to like it.
That's what's coming. Number 5. That's what's coming this year.
Number 5 on the way.
Way.
I mean, it does just feel like this team is. Can any other team in the league? I'm not kidding you. I sent it in the group chat, but I'm not joking. This team can just hockey stuff, man. They actually can, and they did tonight for good stretches. I don't feel bad about any of the motherfuckers in the court, man. They all look good, and like I actually feel with the way Pods is playing. Here, realistically, right, we're riding our shit right now, right? Someone's going to get hurt this year. Like it's going to happen, like Draymond or Steph or Chris Paul. I don't know if Looney is. I don't know who he sold his soul to, but he did it for non-serious injuries. He's still dragging those knees around like fucking cinder blocks, but he's getting around okay, so it's all good. But when one of the guards is out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, I like Pods. I trust Pods to run that second unit, man. He is feisty. He fights like hell on defense. He gets in the paint a shit ton. And Chuck, I think you had a great thread on this a while ago on Pod's paint touches. If I'm making that up, I apologize. You should do it now so I don't look like a jackass. But the guy gets into the paint. He just makes great reads. And he's active as hell on defense. The rebounding is very real. I'm just saying when that time comes, I don't think this team's gonna fucking float like they are right now necessarily, but I trust that guy to do good stuff in one of those guys' absence. If Chris Paul's starting, I like Pods off the bench. And that, again, overall, my point is this team is just they're deep, they're stacked.
100%. Man, for me, I mean, obviously, I think you guys touched on it like perfectly. Like this team, the hockey subs, I think they did it a couple times against Houston last night. But for me, I think the biggest comparison was there was a clip of Jordan Poole earlier tonight, kind of just a nonchalant little step back with 22 seconds left on the shot clock and just got absolutely swatted, didn't run back on defense. And not to take another dig at Jordan Poole, we've done that a lot over the last 18 months, but the trade for Chris Paul started this real like revamping of this bench unit, which clearly was where the Warriors struggled last year. And we've talked about it all of last season. But for Mike Dunleavy in his first year obviously filling in for Bob Myers, stepping into those shoes, a guy that talk about Bob in terms of like the moves he might have made or whatever, didn't make, whatever it was. But for the shoes that Mike Dunleavy was coming in to fill with this core looking to still go win another championship or two, to go get guys like Chris Paul, Dario Saric to really start that, and then trust Kuminga and Moody to make that leap. And those four guys plus Trace Jackson Davis, Pods, like the draft picks as well, like. Man, like you guys said, bro, they can play. They're legit 11, 12 guys deep. And I can't remember the last time that this team was off the bench, at least, was this formidable. And like goes back to even before the KD years, where that was kind of how they were able to do it, where the bench unit was playing a defensive like more defensive minded, like a slower pace, but the ball's hopping around when Chris Paul's out there. Guys like Saric, Kuminga, Moody, GP, like the defense is there. These guys are making high IQ basketball is being played every time somebody's on the court. It doesn't now. There's no drop off with young guys, old guys, and the type of young guys that they have. You guys said it, man. Pods just has a knack for playing basketball, getting into the paint. He's not hesitant. Trace Jackson Davis just on the boards, knows how to play the center position. So I think they have guys, they legit have like 2 to 3 guys per position that can fill in. And like you said tonight, no Clay, no Kuminga, 2 guys that, Clay had a great game last night. Kuminga's really looked good, even from the preseason, but for guys like Moody to step up in the starting lineup, GP was again, just everywhere. Dario Saric, Chris Paul, Trace Jackson Davis, Pods, like, when we haven't even talked about Draymond getting back into the mix, Steph just being Steph, like the bench just elevates the floor of this team so high that it's like, where can this team go? Like they started 18-2 with in that championship run, and I've said it earlier in this show, man. I think that this team is deeper than that championship run, and I think that as we kind of see more of these guys get more playing time together, like a lot of this bench unit is the first time playing together, or at least we're seeing in like live NBA action. So they're only going to get better from here. Obviously, you want everybody to stay healthy, but it feels like they have what it takes to survive some hits, and with older guys on the roster and Steph, Clay, Draymond, Looney, kind of getting up there, Wiggins, just not old, but he's got some miles on him. But these young guys, this bench is going to be able to step up and step in. And
pause. Fuck that. Wiggins 28. He's bouncy as fuck. He needs to step it up.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll go those 4. We'll go those 4. Looney's got the new hips and everything, so I'll cut him some slack. 9 years, same team, 3 rings. He gets a little bit more slack from us. But nah, man, I'm stoked. I'm very, very stoked about this team. And the fact that they went 3-0 on the road, just to, like we said, Matt, just to get that monkey off your back like very early, and obviously they did that right. And I guess now the question is, can they do this at home? Can they do this at Chase? But
this team won 11 road games last year. Is that right?
Yeah, 11-4.
They're at 3 already. I think their first road win last year came November 20th.
It's a month.
Okay, that's incredibly pathetic. And they're already 3-0 on the road. I can't believe it. Shock, fire off, man.
Yeah, no, on that, just building off that too. I believe they started off 3-14 on the road. So yeah, 3-0, obviously huge. They never had a 3-game winning streak on the road last year. Like it just felt like when those road trips came up, it was just like they were just going to get their brakes beat off, and they did. So it was so predictable. But the one thing that I was just in awe of tonight, when you go back, I mean, obviously watching the game is one thing, but you talk about like the hockey subs, like they had 10 guys play at least 19 minutes tonight. Only 30 played 30 minutes. I just like, it's so cool watching this, like, just go on here, like, the top 3 guys in their rebounding tonight, which by the way, New Orleans, not like the biggest team ever, but I think you would assume that they'd be a better rebounding team than the Warriors. We out rebounded them by 25 tonight. And the leading rebounders were Saric, Trace Jackson Davis, and Pods. Like that is the kind of stuff where you're seeing these little things slip in where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like sure, they're really putting the hurt on the Pelicans tonight, and the minutes distribution is a little skewed by how that second half went.
Yeah, I get shot real quick, man. I want to just say, when was the last time in a game that's meaningful? And right now, I'm going to call every game meaningful until like things feel settled. That Draymond and Looney were not the highest rebounding players in the team in a game.
I don't know. And they weren't even in the top three. Like, granted they did their work. Like Draymond got 6 in 21 minutes. Looney got 7 in 24. Like that's nothing to be ashamed about. It's just that these other guys came in and started inhaling the boards. Like Sarge getting 10 in 20 minutes. Trace Jackson Davis getting 9 and 19. Like Pod's doing his work for a guard. And especially in his first game, like his first real action. Um, that kind of stuff you just can't understate. And is one thing that came up on the broadcast watching the game tonight is they're just playing with so much more energy than the Pelicans. Like they're looking motivated. They're putting pedal to the metal all of the time. And, I think one thing we saw too last year is when they get down and they start turning the ball over, then they kind of sag and they would try to like play a mistake-free brand of basketball. And this is a point we got on all of last year. Like when you pass the ball as much as the Warriors do, like odds are that they're going to lead the league in turnovers or be very close. So when that doesn't mean that you need to compromise your style because the way they still go about it. I mean, they had 14 turnovers tonight, but did it feel like that? Like did that affect the way that they played? No, it didn't. They kept going. They kept pressing. They moved the ball really well. Everybody got involved. And I think that's a major thing. People are going to want to attribute it all to Chris Paul, and he does deserve a huge part of the credit for that. But so much of this just feels like mentality. Like, hey, we're not going to hang our heads after a couple bad turnovers. We're just going to keep pressing on the gas.
And that's just what happens when you have a solid mix of vets on the team like that. That's the Chris Paul. Not to just put it all on Chris Paul, but like that's what happens when your backup point guard is not a 22-year-old that is trying to be like Steph Curry or has that kind of skill set that and it's not and again I don't want to be taking just shots at JP, but like that's really where the contrast of this team, and we've said it all the time, man. The Warriors lost last season on the margins, and this is what we were talking about, like the bench unit coming in, the type of turnovers, just the flow of the game when Steph sat down, and that if this is consistent, there's no reason to see why this would not be a replicable style of basketball. Man, like the sky's the limit for what this team can accomplish this season, man. Like it was just the smallest upgrades in terms of just like positional, I guess I don't even know what the word is, positional awareness, just to fill in that word, but like they filled in those gaps, and we're seeing what this Warriors team looks like when they're able to play their brand of basketball, which terrorized the league for a decade. Like this is what that looks like in the flesh, and they're only gonna get better from here, man. They're gonna get more minutes together, so many more different lineups combinations, and then now that you know that if a couple guys are still out and you can still run out different lineups, different combinations, Steve Kerr is going to be in his bag, man. We're kind of giving him a lot of grief for after the game one, but he's pressing all the right buttons right now. 4 games in, I guess 3 games since we've last spoken, but he's got to be just salivating with the amount of options that he has off the bench and to complement these guys with the starting core, or like the main core.
I think before we move on to anything else, we got to talk about Moses Moody, like in depth. He's been great. He has been great. If you want to say he's been their best wing so far, I don't think it's stupid. I don't know that I fully agree, but he plays his ass off. He's fearless. He's shooting the piss out of the ball. He's fighting on defense. Second on the team, plus 18 tonight. And a blowout win, it matters a little less, maybe might normally, but the guy just works. And he's doing it from all places on the floor now too. He's not just we're gonna get in this realm, I'm sure, soon, where we just kind of label him as a shooter, right? But he's already showing a lot more than that around the basket. The mid range a little bit last game. He had a little pump and go. He just looks great on both ends. And I don't know what the fuck is going on with Andrew Wiggins. But the second he figures his stuff out, this team's wing depth is just awesome. Like it's already really good, but between Wiggs, Moody, Kuminga, and Gary Payton II, they're stacked up on both ends of the floor. And Moody is going to close a lot of games this year, I'm willing to wager, and he's earning more and more Steve Kerr's trust, as he should be. it's just a wealth of options right now, and he's kind of like he's as much an embodiment of that as anything else in the team right now, I think.
Yeah, on the Moody front too. Like, he started off hot shooting. He's 7 for 17, 41% so far. Maybe a little higher than we expect, but I don't see why he can't be a guy that shoots like very high 30s, if not low 40s, considering the diet he takes and just his general confidence. He doesn't care how contested he is. He's letting that thing sing if he's open. And then 4 games in, he's got 6 steals and 2 blocks. Like the defensive event creation is so important for him. Like the way and these aren't even like on ball, on ball is super impressive, but when he's just like digging out of the corners, when he's making rotations along the back line, when he's just inserting himself into passing lanes at the right times, like that's the Moses Moody that I
The
love
guy,
seeing.
the guy was a low man on a Zion drive, and he popped over to try and just contest a Zion layup, man.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't going to work out ever. There was one world out of 100 where Moody gets a stop right there. I don't give a fuck. He was in the right spot. I thought it was a pretty clean contest, to be honest. It just Chuck, just goes to show your point, man. He's getting so smart out there.
And I mean, that also just the depth that you brought up. Like, I know we're giving Wiggs a little bit of grief. Just it's been a slow start, and the jumper started falling. He was aggressive in the second half there, but again, like these guys are waiting in the wings, man. Especially Kuminga and Moody. Like GP is always just your ultimate, like just jack of all trades. You can plug them in wherever, but like Moody and Kuminga are going to be shout out Kendrick Perkins. Moody and Kuminga are going to be like just knocking on the door for minutes every time. And this we've seen Kerr so far, man. He's not gonna hesitate to pull the plug on whoever's not playing well. So for Wiggins to have these two young guys just kind of just nipping at his heel the entire time, I think it's going to be better for him. And just the depth, man. Like we've covered it so far, but that wing depth from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, they just fit well next to Steph, man. Like you can see just the flow that Curry was playing in with whoever was out there, Wiggins, GP, Moody, just from a wing standpoint, and obviously with Clay and Kuminga, we've seen it a little in the other game. So, man, like it's scary hours for this team, bro. Once they start really, if this isn't, this doesn't feel like what they can get to even. Like you obviously got 78 more games to figure it all out, but man, this is such a stark contrast from a year ago. And Steve Kerr, I just was kind of scrolling through Twitter during your piece there, Chev. He came out and said last year was an outlier, man. Like we've always been a great road team, so they're locked in. Like this, that we've said it over the summer, and this team has made it clear that they're taking the season serious, like the regular season, way more seriously than they did last year. They've got the lineups and the rotations to do it, and we're seeing what's going to happen, man, and all of what can happen, what this team can accomplish. But again, before we get out of here, man, and wrap this one up, we gotta touch on the guy who's driving this. And like I don't want anybody to forget.
Glaze him up.
It's glazing stuff, man. It is this is not this doesn't go anywhere without number 30. Steph Curry, bro. The man just I have no words. But I will make some right now. Dude, this guy he's gunning for a third MVP. He is 35 years old. He's gonna be 36 this season, and he is the best pound for pound basketball player to ever lace him up. And we are seeing this. We've seen this for what is year 15 right now. But every day, every time I watch him, at least this year, I've gone in with the mindset of like I'm not gonna take this for granted. And dude, he's just every time is delivering and then some. But man, Steph he is in a flow that I don't think we've ever seen him play. He's mastered the offensive game of basketball. We talk about the 2016 unanimous year and how much how great that was, and obviously 73 wins and all that jazz. But this version of Steph Curry might be the best version we've seen of this man like ever in his career. And that's so scary with this kind of a bench and this depth that we've talked about. For Steph to be kind of being the head of the snake at this level, at this age of his career, man, I don't know. The man's not going to stop anything. There's not another basketball player, maybe Jokic, that you can argue and say is a better version of themselves at this age or at this stage of their career. But if you're trying to go win a 7-game series, man, and 30 is on your side, you got the modern day MJ, and I don't see this man slowing down. He's gunning for the MVP. If he can get like he's gonna be in that MVP conversation if he plays enough games, which is gonna be probably the biggest reason why he won't win it is just the number of games played. So if he's healthy, has the type of year that he's on pace to have, man, it's gonna be scary come April going into the playoffs. How we feeling about 30 though? This dude is speechless.
And one thing I got to throw out there. Steph is currently averaging 30, 33 and a half points per game after tonight. That is more than his minutes played. So he's getting clean over a point per minute, which is just ridiculous. He's looking as efficient as he's ever been. That opening night, he shot a little rough from three. Then he goes 7 of 10, 6 of 14, 7 of 13 from deep. Like it's just otherworldly stuff, man. Like you see the control he has. One thing like last night I was watching the game, have a couple buddies over and we're watching it, and specifically on that Rockets game, like after he had the first two made threes and he gets the ball in the backcourt, like Rockets get a made basket and he starts doing that, like bobbling his head dribble, where he's like taking the ball up and he just kind of like is shaking some stuff out. And I just lean over and I'm like, he's going to do some really ignorant shit right now. And then he up fakes Dylan Brooks so hard he almost reached orbit and then hits the three and stares back at him. Like, it's just unbelievable how much we've seen this and how it just continues to happen. Like, he doesn't feel real when you watch him. And I do agree with you. I think he's playing the best basketball of his life. I mean, I think for people who've been watching this team, it's so easy to go back and point at the 2015-16 season unanimous MVP and be like, oh, that's the best it was ever going to get for him. I still think he's better right now. Like, he's much more refined in terms of his game. I don't think he's ever been better on the drive than he is right now. The way he'll he had one shot earlier where he pulled up on a floater, like completely running forwards from the elbow and just kissed it in off the glass. And he didn't even have to do that. Like, he could have continued the drive. Like, it was objectively not the smartest thing he could have done, and it didn't matter. He just throw that thing up there. My touch is way too good. I don't care. Like, he's just tormenting guys out there. Another 42 tonight. Like, just looking as efficient as it gets. Only 22 shots. He's getting to the line like a lot. This is now 4 straight games where he's had at least 6 free throw attempts. So that really just speaks to how he's doing his classic, I'm going to torment you from outside. It's going to open up like backdoor cuts. It's going to open me getting into the lane because you're sending guys up to the level of the screen. And I'm in awe of this guy. Like, we've never seen basketball played like this offensively.
Yeah, I can't say a whole lot you guys haven't already said, to be honest, but I will say listen, if you don't think he's the best, that's fine. There's nobody better though. There's not. Like, you don't, if you think Jokic is the best player in the world right now, hey, power to you. I'm not saying Steph is better, but no one's better than Steph right now. I'm sorry. This guy he just, Chuck, you were texting us, man. And like, I've written about this before, but no other player can do things to where you are actually like laughing to yourself. It's not like a chuckle. It's like, it's a cackle. It's like a real life cackle where you can't really, the thing you just saw is so insulting and so ridiculous that you just can't believe you saw it. And the only reaction you can have is to actually start laughing really hard, because the arrogance, how impressive everything is, it's just like, we're not going to see it ever again. He is 35 going on 36. He's playing again too. Also, just point out, Steph's 35 going on 36, playing in the second night of back-to-back. We've got half the stars in the league already resting, and this guy is also just going for it. Granted, he's playing lower minutes than he's had to recently. I was kind of reluctant to get into MVP stuff. I don't know. I think you're kind of right, Gautam, about like games played and stuff if it comes down to that. But if anything, right now, I'm reminded of his first MVP season early on, very early. I get that it's early on talk, right? But he averaged like 23 points a game that year. He's averaging 30 right now. I'm not saying that like he's going to drop down to 23. It just feels like one of those years where how it feels doesn't actually fucking matter. Pardon me. Like he's going to play a few minutes this year because they have a Hall of Famer as their backup point guard. But I can see this guy just popping off 25, 26 points a game and having one of the most efficient seasons of his career. And Chuck, like you said, going to the basket, it's just he had this finish. He got clobbered in the lane, and he finished with his arms going through two defenders. His body wasn't through yet, and he scooped it up high off the glass. Eats shit. No love from the Zebras, but the guy just gets better and better every fucking time, man. And I can't believe it. I don't know. Again, I don't know the end of the season holds. I don't know the rest of the season holds, but there's nobody better on planet Earth than Steph Curry with a basketball. I sound like White Goodman talking about that crazy Russian chick in dodgeball right now. She's the deadliest woman on earth, the dodgeball. That's Steph Curry, man. I am the White Goodman to his Franz Tanasievich. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at, man. We're blessed. I can't say much more. The guy's he's getting better and better.
Dude, just tonight, like when I texted you guys about that, I just started just laughing so hard because it was right before that, I messaged you guys and I said, all right, it's time to get Steph out of there. Like Draymond rolled over and I think he just like landed on a guy's foot weird, kind of caught him in the ribs. Didn't look like fun, but the game was in hand by then. I was like, all right, time to get Steph out of there. Like 30 seconds later, you see all the guys coming in from the bench, and Steph clearly sees it too. So what does he do? He pulls up from like near half court, nothing but nylon. Like it's just, I mean, you talk about that, Matt, like the arrogance, like just the outright, like that is just such an unbelievably rude thing to do once you've already like stomped this team out and you see that you're about to go and you're like, all right, let me just get one more up. And it just hits it from like clean 30 feet.
Man, every time I see like a Steph performance like that, I'm just reminded of how goated the babyface assassin moniker is. Like that's so I don't think it's a better way to sum up that dude, man. Like he's the nicest guy, like obviously does so much for the community, just a good dude, but man, he's a killer on the court and he's gonna stop at nothing to snatch your fucking heart out and stomp on it, do whatever he wants to do, and shimmy on it right after with a smile on his face. So babyface assassin, he's coming, man. It's like you said, man, it's a blessing to watch this dude play. Knock on wood, it looks like he's got a lot more left in the tank, and this season is going to be one for the books. Before we get out of here, guys, a fun episode here. The Warriors got one game against the Kings. I think it's Wednesday night at home, and then another 4-game stretch on the road. Obviously going into this stretch feels a lot more different than going into the first 3, just seeing how it kind of unfolded. But you got the Kings, and then they got the Thunder, the Cavs, the Pistons on a second night of a back-to-back, and then obviously at Denver on November 8th for that, next 5-ish games. I'm sure we're going to record before, somewhere in between that road trip, but let's just go Kings, Thunder, Cavs, Pistons. I'm sure we'll get one before then, but those 4 games, one at home against the Kings. How are we feeling? Let's get a little prediction going before we hop on out of here.
I mean, dude, call me chalk, but like I see another 3-1 coming. I mean, getting in another back-to-back, another 3 games in 4 nights, that's going to be tough. But Kings, like Fox took a bit of a knock in that last game against the Lakers. We don't know if he's going to be there on Wednesday. Even if he is, we know how well this team gets up against the Kings. They love these matchups. They really match up well against them too, as talented as Sacramento is. Oklahoma City, always scrappy, but Warriors are just the better team at this point. Cleveland's going to be a dogfight. I really like what they have put together, even though they got a couple guys dinged up right now. And then, Detroit, they're promising, but this is the exact kind of team the Warriors handle, where they got a whole bunch of slow wings and they got a whole bunch of plotting bigs, except for Jalen Duren. No disrespect intended. That guy is truly ridiculous to watch, and I can't wait to see him going against the Loon God. But I'm going 3-1, man. Like I just think they roll through. I'm thinking 2-1 on the road. I think they handle business against the Kings on Wednesday. Whew, I mean, man, they got me believing, and it's got me nervous. But here I am believing again. What do you think, Matt? Talk me
Oh
down.
man.
Talk me down.
I'm happy to. Listen, we're 4 games in. We're riding high and mighty right now. I don't blame you. I feel great. With that being said, I'm going 2-2. I can't guess above 500 for any prediction for maybe a few months. I just don't. Yeah, I can't get too high myself. You know what I mean? This is tough stuff. Listen, I think they win the Kings game, like you said. I think Fox, from what I understand, can be out for like a week or so. That's kind of what I was seeing. So that's again, wish him all the best. Can I just say, Fox is an absolute fucking stud. If there's a guy who, in
Oh
some
yeah,
capacity, is like, in my mind, the heir to Steph Curry, just with like the just vibes, he just goes for it. It might be Fox. Also, on that note, the Lakers have absolutely no one to guard any guards this year, and I am thrilled to know that in my heart and soul. But anyway, no, I mean, again, if I'm using my only logical mind, I might guess 3-1 as well. I like them better than all these teams. 3 games in 4 nights is tough, or 4-5. What was it, Chuck?
Yeah,
3-4.
3-4, yeah. So, listen, I think they're in a position where Steph and Draymond are not going to play more than 32 minutes a night, which means those back-to-backs get all the easier. And even again, when they have those back-to-backs, if they sit someone, I'm just less worried than I used to be. So again, the rational me, and I mean, this sounds ridiculous. Rational me says 3-1. Emotional me says 1-3. So that's why I'm landing halfway between. No, it's good vibes. It's great vibes. I don't know what else to say. This is fantastic. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm thinking about hurting myself with a hammer somehow. I'm not sure what it's going to do, but it's like, it's on my mind. I'm not badly. Don't worry. Just like a finger or something. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Just to feel something. Yeah,
yeah.
As you said, well, the Warriors got me feeling. Chuck, 3-1, pretty very sound prediction. That's what I'd want to say. But Matt, when you went 2-2, I was just like, you know what? I gotta go 4-0. We're going 4-0, man. It's happening.
yes, he's back.
Kings is the dub. Thunder, they ain't like that. Cavs, we own that city. And then Detroit might be the hardest one in that stretch, just because we keep blowing those on the back end of a back-to-back. Used to do it to New Orleans, came out and handed them by 30 tonight. So I see that as a dub as well. But nah, man. Realistically, I think it's gonna be 3-1, but I don't see why they can't win 4 again. Especially just with the kind of the way that the road's shaking out this year so far. 6-0 start on the road would be pretty fucking awesome. But again,
And hey, man, just throwing it out there too. Like even if they started off 2-2, like let's say they only win one of those road games. Like let's say they go 1-2, they take care of business against the Kings. You're 5-3. You're already 4-2 on the road. Like that's a damn good place to
ton of
be,
home
man.
games
Like
gonna be, and a lot of home games coming up where you know how the Warriors play at home. So nah, man, I'm with you guys though. The Warriors, man, they're back. The vibes are back. This team feels like the teams that we've seen of the heydays, just from a depth and a Steph Curry being Steph Curry, kind of a show, man, on a nightly basis. But we'll check back in on these predictions on the next episode. But before we get out of here, guys, anything last minute you guys want to talk about or shout out?
I mean, man, you know that sometimes you get that funny feeling, that kind of smell in the air. You can feel it drifting across the wind. It smells like an article's coming soon. You'll always be able to check that out on my Twitter at Claytheist11, where I'm always posting dub stuff. And you can check out all my writing on theswishtheory.com, as always.
Check out Chuckster. Matt?
Got nothing. Taking a writing hiatus once more, just to be more focused on school and the pod and whatnot and work. So, no, keep reading Chuck, keep listening to the pod, follow everybody on the Twitter sphere, the X sphere, whatever you want to call it now. Keep reading Chuck, you'll get smarter every time. If you want to follow me, I'll get you dumber every fucking day of your life. So you can kind of use us to counteract. So that's about it though. Follow Gautam. He's one of the funniest follows on Dub's Twitter, in my opinion. All the good stuff, guys.
So you get smarter with Chuck, you get dumber with Matt, and you just stay the same. I guess you follow me. So it's a perfect mix. That's why the show works out so well. I got nothing but guys. Same as you guys said, man. Just follow the pod, follow Chuck's stuff coming out. We're got a fun season, man. It feels special. I'm excited for everybody that's hopping on the train with us. So keep getting those engagement going high. We love seeing it. Would love to hear you guys' takes as well. So drop some questions, your thoughts, your takes. DM us, whatever it takes, man. We'll excited to get that going as well. But season's back, Warriors are back, vibes are back. And let's get back to the top, man. Number 5 loaded. But until the next episode, guys. Peace.